Holy cow. No way. These guys are toasted. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and the video today is about the F10 M5. Ooh, this car's got the S63 engine, which is my favorite. It's a twin turbo V8 that came out of the factory producing 560 horsepower. But the reason why I like it so much is because whenever you get bored of those 560 horsepower, you can put an intake, you can add downpipes, you can do a tune, and you just keep bumping the power up until, well, you blow up your engine, which is exactly what happened to this one. Now, this is not actually my car. This car belongs to a viewer of the channel just like you guys, and he reached out to us a few months ago, probably 2.5 months ago, because he was watching one of my other videos of rebuilding the S63 engine of my X5M, and when he realized I was also in Sydney, Australia, he immediately dropped me a line. He sent me an email saying, "Hey, I've got an F10 M5 that's been sitting in the driveway for the past 6 or 7 months. I've been quoted $30,000. Yes, $30,000 for a rebuilt engine. And do you think you're going to be able to help me out? Is there something that we can do?" And well, with this being an M5, man, there's no way I would say no. I did ask him to wait a little bit until we finish all this, because if you guys been watching the channel, you know that I've been working from home ever since we started the channel. In this video, what I want to show you guys is how to get the engine out of the car, and we're going to split the engine, put it apart, and figure out what went wrong and what we're going to do in order to fix it. Now, first thing first, the reason why I think this is going to be a very big project is because of a few interesting things. When I firstly spoke to the owner of the car, he did tell me that the engine was seized. It's taken to, I think, 2 different places who actually confirmed the engine was seized, and then he took it home. I had a chat to him, we organized a towing truck, we brought the car here, but once the car got here, I actually got to know the full story. The engine is indeed seized, okay? I can see there's no way we can crank it over even with a wrench. But he said that once the car stopped, there was a lot of smoke coming from under the bonnet, and it smells like burnt wires, and he was getting error for short-circuiting the fan. Well, the engine being seized is a rebuild, that's all right, I'm quite familiar with that. I can rebuild this engine, no worries. But if you had an electrical failure, that is another thing. And just when you think things couldn't get any worse, well, he said that this car has a stage 2 tune, and I asked him if he was able to just convert it back to stock, because obviously we're going to be rebuilding the engine, so it's going to be a good idea just to start fresh. And then he told me that he was flashing the car back to original when the battery just died. It doesn't get much worse. Well, it actually does, because he started to take things apart by himself to try to figure out what went wrong, and in fact, I'll show you. Well, I already had a look under the car. There is no under tray. All the plastic panels are gone, and if we come here on top, like as you can see, some of the clamps are undone. Everything seems to be like kind of loose. This was already loose. Low temperature reservoir is loose, all the ECUs, so there's a bunch of actually, see, everything is loose. So I'm not quite, it doesn't have a belt, okay, the serpentine belt, it's gone, it's not there. So I'm not 100% sure what he was trying to achieve here, but anyway, he kind of did us a favor, just removing a few bolts, so I'm pretty certain I'm going to spend much less time removing this engine. But when we put it back together, I'm going to have to figure out where to get those bolts from, because I can see there's a bunch of things missing. But without further ado, let's get this engine out. Okay, we finally got to the stage that I've been waiting for so long, which is the actual block teardown. Once we start to take off the parts, we're going to find out what went wrong with this engine, and hopefully it's going to be salvageable. But there is one tricky bit, which is, because the engine is seized, I'm going to have to improvise somehow. Because the correct way of actually removing the engine head and the cams would be to put the engine on the proper timing, and that's going to give us access to the bolts and then get everything undone and pull things out. This, unfortunately, is not going to happen because, well, the engine is seized. I can't really crank the crank. But let's take things apart and see how it plays out. Well, first impressions, but nothing is really out of the ordinary. Like seriously, the entire engine is full of this thing. What is this? I don't know. It's like some sort of a plastic, even inside of the engine. I don't know if this engine's been played with before or what exactly is going on, but nevertheless. Look, these came out a lot easier. See, still. What is this? What is this? If any of you guys know what this could possibly be, it looks like melted plastic. It's everywhere on this engine. Now, just quickly while we're on it, have a look on this. This is the PCV or the CCV for the S63 engine, and this is one of the many reasons why your engine could be blowing out smoke and going through a lot of oil. Some people call PCV, some people call CCV, and the reason why I think it's a CCV is because this has a principle of a cyclone crankcase ventilation. What happened is, over time, this is made of plastic, so this plastic goes brighter and everything inside gets pretty much perish and it stopped doing its function. So instead of separate the oil from the air and just suck air out of the crankcase, it actually sucks oil as well, and that's where the whole nightmare starts. This is definitely a must when you're rebuilding your engine, and we are going to replace this one. Now, let me show you guys something. See the cams, how they are extremely, like, they're not bad, they're not damaged. And well, the owner of the car told me that the car did have oil, and in fact when I took the sump out, it did have a good quality oil, at least it looks like. But it doesn't look like, even though the cams look good, it doesn't look like it has much oil residue left. So I'm guessing this car was extremely hot when the damage occurred, and it probably had little oil to it, because I don't see much of an oil residue in here. That shows that even though your car does have oil sometimes, maybe the pump has failed, maybe the oil filter, or the oil filter was completely blocked. So I'm sure something has failed and blocked that filter, because the filter wouldn't get blocked if the engine isn't running. But I would definitely vote on the oil pump. Let's see. Holy f***. Like seriously.
That's not good.
Now let's have a quick look on the solenoids. Look how much gunk already came from the inside. Like all the filters, because obviously the middle one is the intake, so that's where the oil flows into the solenoids. Now I have no clue what this is. Like the entire engine, inside and outside, is full of this stuff. It looks like a plastic or whatever, but yeah. First thing, solenoids, no good, no good. Now, I just realized I ran out of memory on the camera. We finished removing all the gear on the bank number 2, which is exactly the same as what we just done on bank number 1. The cams look good, the rockers look alright, there's no damage, there's no scratches on it. Now is the time to pull the heads off and let's see what we are going to find. If we take the heads off and there's no damage, no apparent damage from the top, then it's probably a spun bearing or an oil pump. So let's see how these go. Okay, off it comes. I'm not gonna look, I'm not going to... Holy cow! What the hell is this? See, this is This is that bloody plastic that I've seen. Mate, what the hell is this? Like, with all honesty. See, that is the plastic that I've seen around the engine, like everywhere. Look at that. How did this thing end up here? Is a big question. Now I'm gonna have to show you. So number 8's fine, number 7 is fine, number 6, what is this? Like, I've been saying this. Oh, it's really stuck to the piston. Like it's melted in there. Well, I can't really see much damage from here. Let's try this up. I don't know what that is. I think, oh, there it comes. There it comes. You see, this thing melted into. Okay, my guess is this. This engine swallowed something. It definitely has. I don't know if, yeah, it definitely swallowed something, because I have no clue where this is. And we've got 4 perfect pistons. Nice. Okay, I'll show you guys make number 1. And obviously there's a lot of carbon on it. It's a 100,000 kilometers engine, but yeah, I can't really see any damage to the cylinder walls, which is awesome. Well, with that said, flip this engine apart, and then we're going to start to pull up the sump, and like, I'm excited to see what we're going to find, but I know that it's not going to be something good. Let's see what went kaput. So first thing I'm going to do is undo all the little bolts, and then we come back with the power tool, because again, otherwise you're going to be here till tomorrow. Eey. Not the best stuff, but I was kind of expecting it to be. No way. Look, I'm very sad that this happened, but I can't stress enough. Look at me. I've made a video last year talking about this, and yet not many people do it. So if you got an M5, if you got an S63 engine, N63, or any of the twin turbo V8s, you could literally save your engine by doing this. It's gonna cost you probably $30, $35 when you're doing your next oil change, you take an extra 30 minutes and try this, please. This is the S63 engine out of that M5 up there. And I'm gonna tell you right now why this engine failed. It's something silly that could have been avoided. Look at this. Now, I understand there's foreign material, okay? This should not be here, for sure. You definitely shouldn't. But if someone was checking it and they picked that up, all they have to do was take the oil pickup tube out of here, clean it, put it back in. Is that gonna solve your issue? No. Is it going to extend your engine life? Absolutely, because if you run the engine without oil, the engine is gonna go kaboom. No questions about it. Problem is, this engine did have oil. This engine had plenty of oil, yet it ran dry. Why? Well, just do this. Tap your nose and close your mouth. Breathe. You can't because it's blocked. That's pretty much the same for your engine. How do you expect the oil pump to pick up some oil when the tube is blocked? That's the reason why the engine went kaboom. Next time, do it. Let's see what's hiding beneath. Yeah, fair enough. I'm probably gonna have to tap it a bit. Oh, no. It's loose now, baby. It is loose. Look good, look okay. These ones look very good, look alright. That one not too bad. Oops, what's this? Whoa. What sort of discoloration is there? Yep, shot. Very pretty shot. Now, here's one bit that you guys need to know if you never worked on these engines. It is a bit of a mistake that I had a few years ago. It was actually last year, the first engine that I rebuilt. With this being an alusil block, the actual cylinder walls are very, very fragile. So when you take the rod bolts and you drop in the piston out of the block, make sure that you actually support the rods, because if the rod nick the cylinder wall, it's going to put a scratch on it, it's going to put a dent in it, and that means that you pretty much lose the block, or you're going to have to just leave it. This happened to me, okay? I was trying to push one of the pistons out, there was a bit of a carbon on the top of the cylinder. Eventually I just nicked one of the cylinders. It wasn't a big deal because that engine was damaged already. The engine had damage to 2 cylinders and it had to be sleeved anyway. But yeah, when you're doing that, when you're putting the piston and the rods back out, just try to protect them as much as you can. I'm gonna put some rug around and make sure I have some cushioning, because yes, when you drop a piston, you could damage the cylinder walls when you're doing so. All right, fresh off the boat. Let's have a look and see what a spun bearing look like in real life. I was able to remove the cap. Yep, the cap is bad, very bad. Now, this is the bearing. The bearing is fused onto the crankshaft, so we are gonna have to try to remove it. And well, this rod is also seized up. Everything got fused onto the crankshaft. Now, I want to try to remove it without hitting with the hammer too much, but I don't think that's going to be possible. So, yeah, worst case scenario, we're going to have to use our precision tool, which is this guy. Ta-da! Let's carry on. It spins. That's it. We good now. We can keep removing. Cheers. Alright, so how things really went down with this engine? Well, they say a photo is worth more than 1,000 words. Video then will be even better. So, in order to do that, I'm going to demonstrate with engine oil. Wasn't good anyway. This is the pickup tube that I just removed from this engine. It hasn't been cleaned yet, so it's got all that gunk that I showed you guys in the photos. And let's do something very simple. I'm gonna put some engine oil on top. Let's see if it comes down, how much is gonna come down at the bottom. So I'll put it in front of the white background so you guys can see. And off we go. Oh, it's full. Oh, what's happening? Oh, yes. That's a tube. It's just a tube. How come the oil is not coming out? So, yeah. Good. Bye-bye. Oh, the gunk is coming out now. Look. The guy who owns this car told me that he had the car serviced a couple of weeks before the engine went kaboom. The only thing that I can imagine is they forgot something inside of the engine, whether it was a plastic bag or... Because I have this blue thing that looks like a plastic everywhere in the engine. Now, on the Venus solenoids, on the oil sump, on the sides of some of the guides, that should not be there. With that being said, this thing made its way down to the oil pickup tube, blocked the pickup tube. No matter how good your oil pump is or how much oil you have inside of the engine, it's a game over because you're gonna run your engine dry. No oil means no life. That's it. Two spun bearings, 4 bearings actually, because you have 2 cylinders, number 4 and number 8. Gone, done. I don't even know if you're gonna be able to salvage these crankshafts because there's a lot of damage to it. You can see the change in color compared to the other journals. I think most likely we're gonna have to buy new crankshafts. To the block, there wasn't any spun main bearings, which was my main concern. At least we're gonna be able to salvage this block. However, I can see a little bit of damage on cylinder number 5 walls. There is some imperfections there, some scratches, so we might have to get this engine block sleeved, which is not much of a big deal. It costs money at the end of the day, but at least we're not going to have to go and find a new block, which was my main concern. As to the other parts inside of the engine, this is a 100,000 kilometers engine, so it was actually in a better condition than I was expecting it to be. Considering the amount of stuff that I found in the oil filter and the oil filter cap, I was expecting the cams to be shot, The timing gears or even the rockers, the lifters, everything is in perfect condition. In fact, both of the engine heads were really clean and really good. The pistons look very good as well. I measured 2 of them. They're not out of spec, so we might be able to use the same pistons. 6 of the rods are good, the other 2 are short. Again, we're going to talk to the owner of the car, see if he wants to go down the route of having some forged connecting rods. If he decided to do that, it's going to be great, because then we can push this engine back to the 700 or maybe go 800 horsepower, which is something that I know that eventually is going to happen. But as of today, the block is going to get sleeved. I'll send the crankshaft to the machine shop and see what are the guys going to recommend me to do. If it's salvageable, then maybe, I know they can grind down the crankshaft and put an oversized bearing on it. I'm just not very, I'm not very happy with that procedure. Right? With this being an M5, with this engine being pushed back to the limit, even past the limit to the 700 horsepower, I think we might just buy a new crankshaft and go from there. Timing chain was good, the pistons are good, everything else inside of the engine looks alright. So I think that should be it for now. If you like this video, if you like the BMW twin turbo V8s, and if you like this kind of stuff, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can keep following the next video for this project. Because in a few weeks time, whenever we get back these from the machine shop, or whenever we hear back from the owner and get all the parts done, we're going to start the next phase of the video, which is going to be the build up of the engine, and that's going to be pretty interesting as well. So as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next.